Swamini, some of the people are not able to come out of the grief of the loss of their family member for a very long time, even several years. How do we explain that?
All of us experience a sense of loss, and grief is inevitable, right? We don't want that grief. So we have to deal with it at two levels. One is a relative level and the other is at the absolute level. At the absolute level, we study the Bhagavad Gita or we study Vedanta. That I want to put an end to this sense of loss that I experience from time to time. Because, if it's not my hair, then maybe it's my teeth, or maybe it's a loss of a job, or it's loss of something. And of course, it's a loss of my loved one, sooner or later. Okay? So I can deal with it on a relative basis, which I'll come to. Or I can deal with it on an absolute level, that is that all that there is to life, which is what prompted Gautama that time to walk out. So that's the absolute solution, that Atma is Ashotya. Atma is not something that is to be grieved over. And we will try to avoid using the word soul, because a soul is that which has salvation. It has Abrahamic connotations, and it can reach heaven and so on. For us, Atma is Atma only, there's no translation, and Atma is the limitless. Okay, so that's in terms of the absolute loss, absolute grief. Now, relative grief that we experience is something that we can all deal with. How? So one is that because you know that you're going to lose people, you make the most of what you have. And a lot of people, when they are asked, what are your regrets? Whether it is on the deathbed or, little later in life, 70, 80. So they will say that nobody is going to say, I didn't work enough. Okay? They will say, I didn't spend enough time with X, Y, Z, whoever, or I didn't tell them that I love them, or I held a grudge for so long, or I didn't care enough for them, and so on and so forth. Okay? So we soften the blow of loss by making the most of our time with these different people in our lives, whoever is dear to us and so on. So that's one. Our journey with people needs to feel complete. What I mean by that is that I have contributed to this person's happiness and growth and welfare, and this person has contributed to my happiness, growth and welfare. For some people who were in my life for a few years, maybe a few months. Some people lasted for a long time. It's like getting into a train. You get in at one station or one tube, one metro, and then some people will travel with you pretty much for the entire distance, but there are very few, okay? And then some people will come in, there will be an intense encounter, and then they will leave, they are on their journey, you are on your journey, and that's it. When you understand karma with greater depth, then our relationships, the Vedic tradition looks at relationships as something that is necessary for our emotional growth. But Kama is not the goal of life. Vedic tradition, okay? Our tradition, our popular culture aspect, okay, says, oh, we will until death do us apart and so on and so forth, which is also okay. But, our life is not meant for just need fulfillment, because it's a precious life. And so, when it comes to grief, we have a grieving process. Our grief is intensified when there are regrets. I wish I had said that. I wish I had done that. I wish I had not said that. I wish I had not done that, and so on. And so when you have grief, suppose you've had a breakup with someone, or someone has gone away from your life, either due to death or separation, then you have to grieve it out. That's why we have our 13 days for, in some communities, for 1 year you don't celebrate any festival. Because grief is recognized as normal. And that you take your time. Don't even bother to do any great worship. Otherwise you will end up cursing Bhagwan, So you just grieve. Grieve as in, oh, I wish I had said that, I wish I had not done that, etc., etc. You can accelerate this process by actually writing out I've done it with some of you. You write it out. Write it out copiously, and you will cry and sob a lot, okay, for all these regrets, whatever past regrets in your life. And then you visualize that person sitting in front of you. Put a digital image, or, if you have a photo, you put that, and you speak it out, and you will feel empty, little bit empty. There will be, of course, intense emotion, and we allow that intense emotion to, we ride that wave, but you will have a sense of completion. You're not holding on, and you can wish the person well. You can also move on in the sense of not holding on to the grief and the sorrow and the loss, because along with the grief and sorrow is a lot of happiness, and there's a lot of celebration and so on, okay. So yeah, you can, and then after you say whatever you have to say, generally I suggest that, when you do this process, you keep it at your altar and you pray for grace. You before you burn, okay, before you burn or immerse or whatever it is, you keep it at the altar for some time. If you can do a puja, you do, and you pray that you can really move on, not hold on to the grief and the loss and so on, and honor that person. Honor that person by instituting something in that person's name, or doing special actions, and celebrating that person, trying to imbibe some of the qualities of that person who went away, so on and so forth. And then, that journey is complete for you. Completed doesn't mean that you will never remember the person and so on. You will remember the person with a lot of fondness and with a lot of joy rather than only sadness. Yeah, so this is a process all of us have to do for the losses in our life. And then, of course, you've kept it at the altar, so you know that it is being blessed. Your effort to grieve over this person. And then, of course, you can, please don't, you can publish it, of course, but I'm not sure other people will support the idea. So, you can burn it or immerse it, whatever you feel, whatever you have an affiliation for. Maybe for some people it's water, some people it's fire. So you do that, and then it's over. And you pray that we need to do it once, twice, thrice, but generally I have found that once is enough. That you can retain the best of what that person meant to you, and you can be fortified by that person's presence in your life and all those wonderful qualities and memories and so on, and then you move forward. Okay. Our identities are very caught up with looking after people who have died. The identity of a caregiver is a very strong identity, and it may be required for many of us. Then when the person is gone, my life is empty. There's no more purpose left. So all my attention and everything was directed towards this person. Or we have to look at the goal of our relationships. Okay, this is a little helicopter view, but it's an important view, which is that, and we have to define it for ourselves. What is the goal of my relationship with X or Y, whoever that is? Now, whether it is somebody at work or it's family member, it will take on the form of, the goal is to love and support and care for the other person, and to also be loved and supported in ABCD ways, depending on the nature of the relationship. There is another goal related, which is that I have to see myself as lovable and acceptable. That I matter. I am worthy. I am fine as I am. I am enough. Our dependence on different kinds of relationships is because without them, I don't feel worthy. I don't feel enough. I feel empty, etc. Or I feel incomplete. Then that's why we want someone to complete us. Correct? Jerry Maguire. So, if we are able to see and have this transfer of vision, then the relationships have served their purpose for us. That this person loved me so deeply and was so present for me and was so caring for me, what does that say about me? Of course, that person was wonderful, because how could that person put up with me and so on? Okay, all that is fine. But what does that say about me? That I am fine as I am. Oh, but the person went away. Yeah, that person went away, like everyone will. But that is the greatest legacy that you can leave behind for the people that you love. That you leave the person with such a strong, I won't even use the word belief, a strong understanding that no matter what, you are fabulous. You are brilliant. You are wonderful. And maybe in your interactions with that person, you invoked a great deal of kindness and love and strength and courage and so on. But that's your gift to the person. And so our inability to let go of the people who are already dead and gone and are not able to come out of the grief is because our source of emotional comfort and support has gone away. That with the person's loss, it's gone. And so, if the person gets in touch with me, I will put the person through a grieving process. That's important for everyone. That what is it that the person who went away, what did that person feel about you? What were the gifts that the person has given you that are not really tangible? And what does it say about you? And how is it that you can honor that person? So we have to explore all these questions, and coupled with the identity of a caregiver. So the person has to find some meaning in life. Not watching TV like 15 hours a day, because the person has become so numb, you don't even know what you're watching, but you're watching. And the remote is in your hand and you're just, numbing the pain. So that's how, that's how we have to, because it's possible the person is depressed and doesn't have purpose. And the way to get out of depression is to find a purpose. Even if that purpose is, I have to cook something for myself today. That's good enough. You live day to day. You don't have to plan too much. One day at a time is good.